to be honest though, I would do fine arts, but the thing is I wasn't getting the connections I wanted. Like I didn't gain community. Nationals, I would do everything by myself. Like I would walk around by myself. Thank God my mom was like the most amazing mom ever. She would come with me. So after fine arts, I would just not come back. I didn't get connected.
Welcome to Adventures in One Love. I'm Lydia, and I just want to thank you for joining us today. Before we get any deeper in this conversation, make sure you subscribe, like, do all the things. I'm super excited to have with me Christopher King, educator, leader, husband.
Yes.
Thank you, Christopher, for being with us.
I'm so happy to be here.
God is good. So I want to just jump right in it. We want to kind of start with really, how did you come to know the Lord and find your identity in Christ?
Okay, so basically I was kind of raised in the church. My mother was a Christian, amazing woman of God, my grandmother. So I would go to service every Sunday. Growing up, I was in the youth choir, and I would do that. But then I think around middle school, high school, maybe, like around 9th grade, like I kind of digressed and kind of stopped going to church. It would be like my mom would have to make me go to church. I still knew like right from wrong. Like I wouldn't be too rebellish or.
There's only so far you'd go.
Right. Yeah. So far I'll go. And so so basically, which is crazy, I was into theater. I'm a theater boy at heart, chorus boy. I was in the chorus performing arts magnet at Dr. Phillips. And so I did that, but then I also do theater shows as well. And so my junior year, we did a show, which was a Disney movie before, it was High School Musical, which is crazy. And I got to play the Corbin Blue character, Chad, the friend. So that was really cool. But then what was amazing about that show was one of the cast members, we got close. She was Sharpay in the show, and like we got close, and she was telling me about this competition that she's a part of at her church. And I was like, okay, what is this? He said, it's called Fine Arts, and they do all these types of categories. They have acting, they singing, and I'm like, I'm doing a small ensemble, and I need a guy to like be in it, and like, would you want to do it? And I was like, yeah, competition? Yeah, sure. Like I like anything. I'm very competitive. Like my wife would tell you, very competitive. And so like anything competition wise, especially something I know I'm good at, which is singing, I was like down for. So she recruited me, and she recruited another girl from the cast. And there was another girl that already went to the church, and she led it herself. It wasn't like, it was like a student-led small ensemble. Really cool. Yeah. So we would practice literally after school. We'll go into like one of the hallways with like the great acoustics, and like we would like sing the song. It was, what was the song? My Desire from William McDowell. And that's when William McDowell just came out.
Amen, that you can remember that.
Yes, I had to think about it. But yeah, he just came out with like his first CD. He wasn't really famous yet. We got the track from him and everything. It was like, what? This is crazy.
Wow.
Looking back, I'm like, we got a track from William McDowell. And like, he just gave it to us. But yeah, so.
Hey, William, if you're listening.
Right.
Shout out.
So yeah, we were practicing, and then she was like, hey, we have this fine arts night, and they want us to perform. And I was like, oh, okay. So this is the first time I'm coming. And she's like, oh, the church is called Faith Assembly. And here's her address. And so I'm like, I'm just showing up to like some random church. I don't know. Like but I'm here to perform. Right. Wow. Listen, when I go there and I'm like, what is this? Like, I was just so amazed, because it was like, it felt like a rock concert. I was like, I've never, like, because I went to all black church. So it was definitely not this. It's not that.
Yeah.
So I went there, and it was just like the lights and like the worship was just insane. Like everything was just so big and epic to me. Like I just felt like everything was just epic. I was just like, and it was so many kids. I'm like, what is going on? Because I went to a youth group with like 12. Like it wasn't a big group. So like, coming there, and I was like, wow, these are like 200, 300 kids, 400 kids. And I'm like, what is going on? So literally we would perform, and it was great, and everyone loved it. And then literally the friend that was in my group, she connected me to the pastor's wife, Miss Jamie. And Miss Jamie, was like, hey, like we have a spot in the large ensemble, and you want to be a part of it, because PJ and Miss Jamie used to do large ensembles. And so I was like, yeah, I'll do it. And then we got connected, and she just started like, literally, I live on the west side. So I live on the complete opposite side from Faith Assembly. And every Wednesday, she would pick me up from my house and take me to church and bring me back home every Wednesday. every week. I would just kind of be connected by that. To be honest though, I would do fine arts, but the thing is I wasn't getting the connections I wanted. Like I didn't gain community. Like I think a lot, which I found out when like I started finally kind of making friends. Like they were like, oh, I was kind of intimidated by you because you can sing. And I was like, well, you just could have came up to me, talked to me.
I still need a friend.
I want a friend.
Yeah.
And like literally, like so nationals, I would do everything by myself. Like I would walk around by myself. My first 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So my mom, thank God my mom was like the most amazing mom ever. She would come with me to everything. She came to everything. So like she came to national. She literally, it was kind of cool because we flew a plane there the first year and went to Indy.
So these weren't even in town nationals.
Yeah.
She's like
no, yes, we are flying. Yes.
Wow.
And she stayed at a separate hotel. We stayed at a separate hotel, and it was funny because a passenger was next to us, and we were talking about, fine arts and whatever. And she was like, "Oh, where are you from?" And it's like, "Oh, we're from Faith Assembly in Orlando." He's like, "Oh, I'm the pastor there," and it was Pastor Carl.
Oh my goodness!
Right next to us, and it was crazy.
Talk about a lot of divine connection.
No, seriously. And I was like, "What? You're the senior pastor?" Yeah, I'm the senior pastor. Wow. I'm going to the fine arts to support Mainstream. And I was like, oh wow, that's cool. And so like we connected there, and that was really nice. He was really nice, and that's what I remember from that. Like, oh wow, the senior pastor. Like you think he's like a big guy, and like you think whatever, but he was really nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I would go there by myself and like do everything by myself, and I wasn't gaining community. So after fine arts, I would just not come back. Mm-hmm. I didn't get connected. And so
not even to the other people in your group?
No, because they already had their own friends. They had their own kind of cliques. And so I literally, like, I didn't have, and like the friends I had were girls. Like they were doing their own girl thing. And like, I was kind of like, by myself. So I would do fine arts, not come to church probably the whole year. And then Miss Jamie would hit me up, hey, you want to do fine arts again? Like, and I was like, okay, sure.
So for perspective, for those who might not be familiar with fine arts, it started what month?
So fine arts starts around like end of January, late February, and then districts is in April. And then once you advance to nationals, you have until the summer, and then August is the nationals. Okay. So I would do that whole, kind of rotation.
Like 8 months.
8-month thing, and then I would kind of drop off the face of the earth, off the face of the earth. I did that, and the next year I'll do the same thing. She'll recruit me again. I did her large, and I did the small again, and I think I did a solo that year, the next year. And then again, like I could not connect with anybody. Like everyone was kind of doing their own thing. I was like, was something wrong with me? Like I didn't know. I got kind of like, I finally got into a room with other boys. Like we got to stay in one room. And so it was kind of cool. It was better. But then like they had their own friends. So I was like, okay, so
I want to make sure to set the right picture. You were in a vocal ensemble with they were all girls.
No, it was boys in there too.
So wait, because normally when you go with the group, don't you room like with the people in your group?
Like it's usually with your human video group.
Oh, okay.
And so like if you're not in a human video, they just put you in like a random group with random people, usually, or kind of put you with somebody that you would do a category with.
Yeah.
But it's most likely maybe one, and then the rest are like random people.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Or they'll put you with a group, with another human video group that's like needed somebody else.
Yeah, they have like an open
they have like
a
3 human video boys in a group. They'll put you in that human video boy group that with 3 people.
And so that was not.
Yeah, we weren't connected.
I hear you. Okay.
That was my senior year, so I was like, okay, so this is it. I'm done. So I go to college. I went to Stetson University for a year. And I was like, really like doing the most. Like this is like my most extra rebellious kind of thing. I was like drinking, hooking up. I was doing everything. And then, crazy enough, I'm young for my age. So like literally, I was only 17 that whole year until like I think maybe like the next year during my college year. And so Miss Jamie hit me up and she was like, hey, do you know, like the rule is like you can be a senior or 17 by September 1st. And I was 17 by September 1st of that year. So she was like, hey, you can do fine arts one more year. And I was like, really? Like I'm in college, like that works? And she said, yeah, like you fit the requirements, so you can do it. So I was like, what? That's crazy. So literally, that final year, and I remember like telling God, I was like, if I don't make no connections, I'm just done. Like I was really like at that point, like I did 2 years, and I was like, but I love fine arts. There was something about it that kept me going back. Like it drawed me in, and like So I was like, no, I have to, I don't know, there's something about it that I love so much. That year I do nationals, and I didn't do that much because I was in college, so I couldn't really do as much as I used to do in high school. But I did one large ensemble, and I think a worship team. And that year, nationals, a guy was like in my room. He just came in the room and was like asking like all these questions about me that no one really asked about me. And I was like, oh, like he's like interested, like being my friend. I don't know. Like I was like really cool about it. And then literally we hung out the entire like week, and like he like stood by me, and it was really cool. And so like that week I kind of like, oh wow, I finally made a friend, and he kind of started introducing me to his friends. And then like by then I like had a whole crew by the end of the week, which was really cool. And then we won that year too. We won worship team and large ensemble nationals.
So you're like, I'm a winner all around.
So it was a really good year. So yeah, and that's what made me kind of just stay at Faith. And yeah, and then the rest is history from there. And then I think that year I went to all the events. I went to the Fall Renewals. I went to Tidal Wave and Freak Show when we had Freak Show back in the day. Yeah, I did the whole thing, and I got connected, and it was like I started going to The Voice, and that's when I started going to The Voice and really like kind of discovering God for myself and the relationship with Him, truly like taking that seriously and really like giving Him my all. And so like it was one service, it was the altar call, and I was like, you know, God, I'm with you. I'm here.
Amen.